everyone, this is Rumana Ali. In the last class we have studied about the lesson respiration. We have studied about the first step of respiration, that is breathing, and also about the mechanism involved in the respiration process. So now let us move to the next step of respiration, that is gaseous exchange. The exchange of the gases takes place between the alveoli of the lungs and the blood cells. So let us see how the exchange of gases takes place between the lungs and blood. When we see the structure of lungs, we can see some branched structures, and these branched structures are called as bronchioles, and the end of the bronchioles shows some sac-like structures which are called as alveoli, and these sac-like structures are the functional unit of lungs, and these helps in the exchange of gases between the lungs and the blood vessels. These alveoli, when we enlarge the structure of alveoli, it looks like this one, sac-like structure, and this alveoli is very adjacent to the blood vessels. As it is very adjacent to the blood vessels, it helps in the exchange of gases between the lungs and blood. When we inhale air, 21% of the oxygen enters into the alveoli. The alveoli are very adjacent to the blood vessels. The blood vessels contain RBC, that are red blood cells, and in these red blood cells one pigment called hemoglobin is present, and this pigment is responsible for imparting red color to our blood. When this hemoglobin contains some iron compounds in it. When this hemoglobin reacts with the oxygen present in the alveoli, it forms oxyhemoglobin, and this oxyhemoglobin is carried to the other body tissues through the blood vessels. So when we see the mechanism of gaseous exchange, how the exchange of gases takes place, so the blood vessels are acting as a mediator, and these blood vessels carry the oxygen or absorb the oxygen from the alveoli and transport it to the body tissues, whereas it absorbs the carbon dioxide from the body tissues and transfer it to the alveoli, and this carbon dioxide is going outside when we exhale air. Now let us see the composition or the percentage of the oxygen as well as the carbon dioxide present in the exhaled and inhaled air. So when we see the percentage of exhaled oxygen in the exhaled air, it is 16, whereas the percentage of oxygen in the inhaled air, it is 21%. When we see the percentage of carbon dioxide in exhaled air, it is 4.4, whereas the percentage of the carbon dioxide in the inhaled air is 0.03. And the percentage of nitrogen is same in both exhaled air as well as in inhaled air. As we inhale oxygen, the inhaled air contains a large or highest percentage of oxygen, whereas when we see the percentage of carbon dioxide, the exhaled air contain a large or the highest percentage of the carbon dioxide gas when compared to the inhaled air, because when we exhale air, the carbon dioxide gas comes out of the body. Now let us see the third step in the process of respiration. The third step is cellular respiration. The main objective of the process respiration is to release energy. So that main objective is going to be fulfilled in this step, cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is a process in which the food reacts with the oxygen to release and to produce energy. So here the food component, that is glucose, reacts with the oxygen to produce energy inside the cells. This is called cellular respiration. Organisms respire to get energy, and where the cellular respiration takes place, let's see. As the name suggests, the cellular respiration takes place inside the cells. Now, in the lower classes, you have already studied about the prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes are the organisms which do not possess distinct nucleus, or the nucleus which is present without nuclear membrane is called as unorganized nucleus. So that unorganized nucleus is present in prokaryotes, and these prokaryotes are single cell organisms. So here how the respiration and where it is going to take place. So in the prokaryotes, there is no any system to carry out the respiration, so the process respiration takes place in the cytoplasm of the prokaryotic organisms. Whereas when we see the eukaryotes, the eukaryotic organisms are the one which possess distinct nucleus or an organized nucleus. The nucleus which is surrounded by the nuclear membrane is known as an organized nucleus. So this organized nucleus is present in the eukaryotic organisms, and these eukaryotic organisms also possess many cell organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum and others. So the respiration is not a single step reaction. It includes several steps or a series of reactions to carry out. Some of the reactions carry out in the cytoplasm, whereas the sum of the reactions takes place in the mitochondria till the energy is liberated. Now when we see how the aerobic and the anaerobic respiration takes place, so the first step is common in both the types, aerobic and anaerobic. So the first step is when glucose is converted to pyruvate or pyruvic acid, it is called as glycolysis. Glycolysis is the common step in anaerobic and aerobic type of respiration. Now after the conversion of glucose into pyruvic acid, certain reactions occurs in the cytoplasm as well as in the mitochondria to carry out the cellular respiration. After the step glycolysis, in the presence of oxygen, the reactions occur, that is aerobic respiration, whereas the reactions which occur in the absence of oxygen is called as anaerobic respiration. Now after the reactions takes place in the presence of oxygen, the products which are released are energy, carbon dioxide and water. This type of respiration, that is aerobic respiration, is carried out in plants and animals. Whereas anaerobic respiration, in the absence of oxygen, the lactic acid plus energy is released. Example, we can take bacteria, and as I said you that the byproducts may be changed in an anaerobic respiration, and based on the byproducts we are getting in an anaerobic respiration, the process is called as fermentation. So when we get ethanol or alcohol as a product, we can say fermentation. So when glucose is a sugar molecule. When glucose is converted into alcohol, that is ethanol, then that process is known as fermentation. Now as you have seen that the aerobic respiration takes place in plants and animals, whereas the anaerobic respiration occurs in bacteria and yeast. But sometimes the anaerobic respiration, that in the absence of oxygen, the respiration occurs in the human body also. So let's see an example. When we go for a running race, we need a lot of energy in our body, but the food which we eat is not getting converted into energy, is not getting combined with the oxygen immediately. So in that situation, what happens is this glucose breaks down and forms lactic acid in the absence of oxygen, or in the presence of low amount of oxygen, the glucose converted into lactic acid, and this reaction is called as partial oxidation. So through partial oxidation, the glucose is converted into lactic acid and some amount of energy. In aerobic type of respiration, we are getting a lot of energy, a high amount of energy we are getting in our body, whereas when we see the reaction occurring in the absence of oxygen results in the formation of low or the less amount of energy and lactic acid. Through anaerobic respiration, we are getting less amount of energy and also lactic acid. So after cycling or after running race or after pedaling, we get some muscle pains. So the muscle pains occur in our body, or we are suffering from muscle pains due to the accumulation of this lactic acid. When we see the aerobic respiration, if aerobic respiration occurs in our body and if aerobic respiration takes place in our body, the products are energy, carbon dioxide and water. Here the carbon dioxide is released, it is not accumulated in our body. But whereas in anaerobic respiration, if anaerobic respiration takes place in our body, the lactic acid is formed which accumulates in our muscles and we get muscle pain. So when we relax, the lactic acid slowly converted into glucose and the muscle pains get relieved. Just before I have said you that anaerobic respiration occur in the absence of oxygen, and it occurs in the two ways. Either it forms the lactic acid as a byproduct or it gives ethanol as its byproduct. and in anaerobic respiration we are getting less amount of energy when compared to the aerobic respiration. Now this ethanol is a name of an alcohol. Let's see how the alcohol is produced. How the alcohol is produced. We can see how the alcohol is produced through an experiment. Now we are going to conduct an experiment to show the production of ethanol through anaerobic respiration. So here we are taking a flask and we are going to prepare, or we are going to pour glucose solution into it. So while preparing a glucose solution, we should make sure that the glucose solution is totally free of oxygen. We can check whether the glucose solution contains oxygen or not by using a solution Janus Green B. And even the glucose solution may also contain dissolved oxygen. So to remove that dissolved oxygen, we can use a method, that is we should boil and then we should cool the glucose solution without shaking. By this heating and cooling process, we can make the glucose solution free of oxygen. After making the glucose solution which is free of oxygen, add some microorganisms, let's take yeast, into the glucose solution. Then after pouring the microorganisms like yeast into the solution, pour a layer of liquid paraffin. Liquid paraffin is an oily and fatty substance which makes a layer over the glucose solution, and it helps in preventing the entry of the oxygen into this solution. Then after that, place a bend tube in this manner that one end of the bend tube should be in the glucose solution and the other end should be in the lime water taken in a test tube. Usually we are using the lime water in chemical experiments to know whether the carbon dioxide is a gas evolving during the respiration or during the process or not. So next we can insert a thermometer in addition in the setup. After this, place a cork to cover the flask. Then now we can see how the yeast converted the glucose solution into alcohol. When the glucose solution mixes with the yeast microorganisms, these microorganisms are breaking down the glucose and it is producing the alcohol. And also during this anaerobic respiration, some gas is released. And this gas is passing through this bend tube and mixing with the lime water. When the gas is released in this test tube, it is combining with the lime water, and after the combination of the gas, it turns milky. And the gas which is mixing with the lime water, which is reacting with the lime water, is nothing but carbon dioxide. We already learned or discussed about this, that when lime water is combining with the gas carbon dioxide, it turns milky. So by this experiment, we came to know that yeast can convert the glucose, that is sugar, into alcohol in the absence of oxygen, and also during this respiration the carbon dioxide gas is released. So this type of anaerobic respiration where the sugars are converted into alcohol called as fermentation. So the fermentation is a process which we can use to prepare alcoholic beverages, wines and many other drinks. Now let us see how to separate the alcohol from this solution. So we know that the alcohol boils at 70 degrees Celsius, whereas the water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Alcohol has lower boiling point when compared to the water. So when we boil this solution, the alcohol boils at 70 degrees Celsius and the vapors released from that solution can be collected, and that is nothing but alcohol. And the process where we are heating the alcohol at 70 degrees Celsius and collecting its vapor called as fractional distillation. So till now we have discussed about the steps included in the process of respiration, that are breathing, gaseous exchange and cellular respiration. Let us move to the other topic in the lesson, respiration. Heat is produced during respiration. So the respiration is a process which carry out in both plants and animals, and during the respiration the heat is produced. So how can we say that during respiration the heat is produced? When we blow or exhale air, we can feel that the air coming out of our body is warm. So by this we can understand that during the process of respiration heat is produced. We have already discussed about aerobic respiration, that is when glucose is combining with the oxygen, it results in the formation of energy, carbon dioxide and water molecule. So do you think that the whole glucose is getting converted into energy? No. Some amount of the glucose is converted into energy and some amount of the glucose is converted into heat. So the respiration is a process where energy as well as the heat is released. So here not all the glucose is harvested into ATP. Certain amount of the glucose is also helps in producing heat. Our body needs heat to maintain the blood circulation. Now we'll move to the next topic, that is evolution of gaseous exchange system. Gaseous exchange system is nothing but our respiratory system. So the respiratory system is different in different organisms. So let's see the different types of respiratory system present in the different level of organisms. First we'll see about the amoeba, that is single cell organism. As amoeba do not contain any system, so how the respiration is going to take place inside the body of amoeba? So the oxygen which is present outside, it directly diffuses into the body of amoeba. Now what do you mean by diffusion or diffuses? So the diffusion is nothing but when we open a bottle of a perfume into a room, we can smell its odor. So how we can smell? Because that smell is scattered or spread into the room. So likewise the oxygen which is present in the atmosphere, it diffuses into the body of amoeba and the respiration takes place. This type of respiration we call as diffusion. Whereas when we move to the other level of organism like insects, let's take an example of cockroach. We can see some pipe-like structures which are passing throughout the body of the cockroach. These pipes passes throughout the blood vessels and it carry the oxygen from the atmosphere to the other body tissues of the cockroach. This system of respiration is called as tracheal respiration. When we move to the little higher level of organisms, we can see or we can take an example of fish. If you see the fish in an aquarium, you can observe that fish open and closes its mouth. So it opens its mouth to draw the oxygen from to draw the water. After drawing the water into an oral cavity, the water flows to the pharynx. Then it rushes to the gills which are present both the side of the head. When the water reaches the gills, the oxygen present in the water is absorbed by the gills and hence the exchange of gases takes place between the gills and the other body tissues of the fish. So this type of respiration we call as bronchial respiration. Whereas in the higher level of animals like humans, we have already studied that lungs are the respiratory organs. Some higher level of organisms like humans, we have already studied that lungs are the respiratory organs, and the alveoli which is a sac-like structure present in the lungs helps in the exchange of gases between the lungs and blood. So that type of respiration which occurs in the human body is termed as pulmonary respiration. In some animals like frog, we can see that frog has moist skin, and this moist skin helps the frog in exchanging of gases. So the exchange of gases which takes place through the moist skin is known as cutaneous respiration. Let's move to the next topic, respiration in plants. Plants also require oxygen to carry out the respiration, that is to produce energy and also to carry out certain cellular activities. So this oxygen they are getting through some pores. When you observe the structure of leaf, you can see some pores present in the epidermal layer of the leaves, and that pores are called as stomata. So these stomata helps in the exchange of gases in the leaves and in the different tissues of the leaves. When we see the structure of leaves, we can see that the cells are closely packed with some air spaces, and these air spaces and through these air spaces the air diffuses into the different tissues of the leaves. Next, when we observe the structure of stem, we can see some pores, and the pores which are present in the stem are called as lenticels. Now, in the stem, lenticels are the pores which helps in the exchange of gases and which helps to carry the oxygen into the different tissues of the stem. Whereas in the roots also we can see some pores. Roots usually grow well in the loose soil, because in the loose soil the oxygen is present, and that oxygen is going to be absorbed by the root pores, and this oxygen is available to the other tissues of the roots through diffusion. So, respiration in plants is occur by these structures: stomata in leaves, lenticels in stems, and root pores in the roots. Whereas when we see some muddy soil or some muddy areas, let's take an example of mangrove forests. The soil which is present in the mangrove forest is waterlogged. In the waterlogged condition, the availability of the oxygen is not possible. So here some modifications occur through the plants, and that modifications are aerial roots. Aerial roots are the roots which are coming out of the ground or coming out of the water to absorb oxygen present in the atmosphere. So in this manner, the respiration carry out in the plants through some modifications and through some structures present in the plants. As in the human respiration, how the carbon dioxide is evolved and how heat is produced during the respiration, in the same manner during the respiration or during the process of respiration in plants also, the carbon dioxide gas is evolved or released and the heat is also produced. So to see whether the carbon dioxide is released during the process of respiration or not, let's see an experiment. Take a glass bottle and place some Bengal gram seeds into it and pour some water. Soak the Bengal gram seeds for 2 to 3 days. After 2 to 3 days, we can observe that some sprouts are coming out of the seeds, and the sprouted seeds are equal to plant. So now by taking these sprouted seeds, we are going to conduct an experiment to show the carbon dioxide gas is released during the process of respiration in plants too. So now in the glass bottle, the sprouted seeds are placed, and also take one beaker and pour some amount of the lime water to check whether during the respiration in plants the carbon dioxide gas is released or not. Then after placing the beaker, close it with a cork and leave it for few hours. After some hours, you can observe that lime water turns milky. About this we have already discussed that lime water turns milky only when it combines with the gas carbon dioxide. So by this experiment, it is concluded that the sprouted seeds, while carrying out the respiration, releases gas which is carbon dioxide, and when this carbon dioxide is coming in contact with the lime water turns milky. Let's see another experiment to show heat is produced during the process of respiration in plants. So now do this setup by using thermoflask, germinating seeds, and also thermometer. After this setup, first note the initial reading, then note the readings for more 24 hours. After each hour, note the temperature which is shown by the thermometer. After noting the temperature about 3 intervals, we can see that the temperature gradually increases during the process of respiration carrying out by these sprouted seeds. So by this we came to know that during the process of respiration heat is produced. Now we are going to discuss about the last topic in the lesson, respiration, that is the difference between the photosynthesis and respiration. Photosynthesis and respiration are the two important biological processes which occurs in the plants and animals. Photosynthesis is a process which occurs only in plants, whereas the respiration is a process which occurs in both plants and animals. When we see the chemical reaction of the photosynthesis, we can see that the simple compounds like carbon dioxide and water is used by the plants in the presence of sunlight to give glucose, CH2 taken in is the chemical formula of glucose. When the carbon dioxide and water combine by the plant in the presence of sunlight, it results in the formation of glucose, and it also releases a gas called oxygen. That is why the photosynthesis can be defined as a process in which the light energy is converted into chemical energy to produce food in the plant body. Whereas when we see the chemical reaction in the process of respiration, it is quite opposite to the photosynthesis, and in this process the glucose is combining with the oxygen to release energy, carbon dioxide and water molecule. The reactants which are present in the photosynthesis are the products in the process of respiration. So it is quite opposite to each other. Now the reactions of the photosynthesis usually occur in the cell organelle called chloroplast. The chloroplast is a structure present in the plants which contain a pigment called chlorophyll, and the chlorophyll is a green pigment which imparts green color to the leaves and to the other parts of the plant body. Whereas the respiration occurs inside the mitochondria. Mitochondria is a cell organelle which is also known as powerhouse of the cell. It helps in generating power, means to produce energy. The production of energy takes place inside the mitochondria. The next is photosynthesis is anabolic process, whereas the respiration is catabolic process. Now, what do you mean by anabolic process? Anabolic process is a process in which the simple compounds are getting converted into the complex one. Here the carbon dioxide and water is a very simple compound which is getting converted into the complex one, that is glucose. So the photosynthesis is called as an anabolic process, whereas the respiration is called as the catabolic process, because in the process of respiration the complex molecule, that is glucose, is getting converted into the simpler form, energy, carbon dioxide and water. Therefore, it is called as catabolic process. Now, the photosynthesis is not a continuous process. It may affect by some factors like humidity, light, temperature. So, these are some factors which affect the process photosynthesis. But respiration is a continuous process. If the respiration stops, the life may end. It may affect by some factors, but if it stops, the life ends. Let's have a quick recapitulation of all the topics which we have learned in the lesson respiration. Respiration is a process in which the energy is released from the food components when combined with the oxygen. Now the steps of respiration. The first step is breathing. Breathing is nothing but exhalation and inhalation. Exhalation is leaving the air out and inhalation is taking the air in. The next is passage of air. We have already discussed about how the air passes from the nostrils and reaches to the alveoli. After reaching the alveoli, the mechanism of respiration starts in the human beings. So, the mechanism of respiration is controlled by the movement of the ribs and diaphragm. The next step in the process of respiration is gaseous exchange. How the gases exchange? So, the exchange of gases takes place with the help of alveoli of the lungs and the blood vessels. Blood vessels act as a mediator between the lungs and the body tissues. The blood vessels, the RBCs which are present in the blood vessels are rich in hemoglobin, that ironic compound. So, the iron which is present in the hemoglobin combined with the oxygen and it becomes oxyhemoglobin, and that oxyhemoglobin is provided to the other body tissues by the blood vessels. In this way, the blood vessels carry the oxygen from the alveoli to the other body tissues and they carry the carbon dioxide from the body tissues to the alveoli. After the carbon dioxide reaches the alveoli, it moves out of the body. The next step is cellular respiration. The main objective of the respiration is achieved at this stage, because the main objective of the respiration is to release energy. In this step of respiration, the energy is going to be released. So, the energy is released only when the glucose, that is a sugar molecule, combined with the oxygen. Then only the energy is released. Depending upon the availability of the oxygen, the cellular respiration is of two types, aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic respiration is the process in which the oxygen is involved. It is the process which takes place in the presence of oxygen. So, it is called as aerobic respiration, whereas the anaerobic respiration is a process in which the oxygen is not involved. It takes place in the absence of oxygen. Aerobic respiration usually occurs in the plants and animals, whereas anaerobic respiration occurs in some microorganisms like bacteria and yeast. Let's move to the next step, that is heat is produced during respiration. As we have already studied that during respiration heat is evolved. So when we exhale air or when we leave the air out, we can clearly see or we can clearly sense that the air which leaves out of the body is warm. Why the air is warm? It is due to the presence of heat, or it is due to the production of heat during the process respiration. The next is evolution of gaseous exchange system. All the respiratory systems are not same. There are different respiratory systems in different types of organisms. We have already studied about the 5 types of respirations, that are diffusion, tracheal respiration, bronchial respiration, pulmonary respiration and cutaneous respiration. Diffusion is nothing but when the oxygen is diffuses from the atmosphere into the body of the organism is called as diffusion. It usually takes place in small and minute living organisms or single cell structures, example amoeba. Whereas the tracheal system of respiration we can see in the body of insects. Example, we can take cockroach. If we see the cockroach, there are many pipes which are present in the body of cockroach, and that pipes takes the air to the other body tissues of the cockroach. It is called as tracheal respiration. Whereas in the animal fish, we can see that the water, after entering into the oral cavity, it rushes to the pharynx, then to the gills. Gills are the respiratory organs which are present in the fish, and after the water rushes to the gills, the exchange of gases takes place in the gills, and hence it is called as bronchial respiration. The next is pulmonary respiration. This type of respiration we can see in the body of humans, because in pulmonary respiration the lungs are the respiratory organs which helps in the exchange of gases. Cutaneous respiration is the type of a respiration which occurs through skin. Here we can take an example of frog. The next is respiration in plants. As the human require oxygen to release energy in their body, plants also require oxygen to produce energy and also to carry out certain activities. So in the plants, some structures like lenticels, stomata and root pores are present in the different parts of the plant to carry out the exchange of gases. And some of the modifications are also taken place by some plants like aerial roots. The aerial roots are the roots which comes out of the ground in the waterlogged condition where the oxygen is not present. So the roots come out of the ground, or it comes out of the water to absorb the oxygen which is present in the atmosphere. So these are certain modifications which carry out by the certain plants in order to regulate the process of respiration. The next and the last one is differences between photosynthesis and respiration. As we have studied that the respiration is a catabolic process, whereas the photosynthesis is anabolic process. In photosynthesis, the simple compounds like carbon dioxide and water is getting converted into more complex compound, that is glucose, whereas in respiration the complex compounds like glucose is getting converted into carbon dioxide, water and energy, which are very simple compounds. That's the reason the photosynthesis is known as the anabolic process and the respiration is known as catabolic process. Our lesson is completed.